everyone. Welcome to Denver Startup Week.
We are going live, everybody. The Undocu Hustle Show is about to go live from Denver to the world for Denver Startup Week.
Whether this is your first session of the day or your seventh, like myself, we want to welcome you here to our first virtual Denver Startup Week. If 2020 has taught us anything, it's that we are more powerful when we come together as community to share ideas and help make each other better. At Denver Startup Week, we strive to make all of our sessions a space where attendees can connect, learn, and grow regardless of gender identity, regardless of gender expression, race, ability, sexual orientation, and the combinations of those identities. So there's something for everyone here. Thank you for joining us again. I want to hand this off to Victor, and thank you to the team, Victor and Alejandro, for bringing this super important topic to the Denver Startup Week stage. Take it away.
Thank you, Olivia. It's so great to be here. Honestly, the second time that I'm here at Denver Startup Week, and just incredible to be able to talk about these conversations, especially from our background as immigrants. I want to introduce my co-host on the Undocu Hustle Show, Alejandro Flores-Munoz, who has been a partner for me in this work and in my entrepreneurial journey as well. Alejandro?
Yes, hey Victor. It looks like my screen is not on yet, but I am really excited to be here and to do what we love doing, which is talking about the Undocu Hustle. As you and I both are experiencing the Undocu Hustle, and we are navigating through the Undocu Hustle every single day.
That's right. I honestly, it's been an honor. We're closing out, our first season of the Undocu Hustle Show here on Denver Startup Week, and what a place to do that. To let new folks really listen to the podcast, and of course, really start garnering ideas for the season to come. I'm so proud of the episodes that we've created, the 12 episodes that we've done, the people that we've met, and who have really inspired us to get our grind on in our hustles, right?
Definitely. And before we move forward, one of the questions we get asked the most is like, what is Undocu Hustle? And I think each of us have our own barriers, our own definitions on the Undocu Hustle. Very similar, but for me, Undocu Hustle means being able to survive in this country, make a living in this country, regardless of your immigration status, regardless of how long you've been in this country, regardless of the generational wealth that you may not have or capital that you may be missing. The Undocu Hustle embodies what the immigrant hustler does. I look back to my mom and hearing her sell cheesecakes door to door, and the way that she would do it, that to me is the Undocu Hustle. And beyond that, we want to continue this conversation to not only grow side hustles that only pay for the bills or help a little bit in the house, but really start creating side hustles that turn into enterprises, that turn into real big businesses that can create generational wealth. So that's what Undocu Hustle means to me.
That's right. And it's so great that you say that generational wealth, because I feel like we are already benefiting from generational wealth that our parents have helped build, right? It's on their shoulders, and it's by their side that we've been able to get here ourselves, and going and motivating ourselves off of the trials and tribulations of our parents, who of course are immigrants to this country, are always constantly finding new and innovative ways to make an income. And I think for both of us, that has been a unique perspective of the Undocu Hustle, right? Is how our parents have helped shape our entrepreneurial spirit, as well as coached us through that lived experience of like selling tamales, selling burritos, that return on investment, and overall, launching the business more out of need than out of passion or out of of grit, right? It's like my mom, I knew that she had to launch her burrito business, not because she was inspired to make burritos, right? But because it's what she knew how to do, and it's what she knew how to do well. And finding customers was just that next step, and she was able to manage.
All those lessons in between are interchangeable, right? So like it started with burritos, and then the next thing could be, colchas or perfumes or, different things, because at the end of the day, we're like salespeople, right? Like that comes very natural to us because we gotta make that living.
Yeah, that's right. And what's funny is the first time that we did the show, we launched it, and we had been talking about it, I think, for as long as the show has been running, about 3 months, right? We're like, we got to get this podcast off the ground, and we got to do it now. We got to do it this week. And then finally you're like, Victor, we're going to do it this week. Be ready. We're going to come up with a script, a show notes, and let's do it. And I think for me, like that let's go attitude is really like what has inspired so many of our viewers or some of our listeners, right, into jumping into their own business or really sketching out what the next step for their business is. That first time that I posted on Facebook and on Instagram, I got this message from my cousin. He's like, thank you, for putting this up. He's an immigrant to this country too, became a citizen very young, but he's been in the grind of like trading his time for money. And now more recently, he's thinking about, what you did, Alejandro, is turn his side hustle into his main hustle. And he never saw himself as a business owner. He really only saw himself as like a worker. And I think that's amazing that we've been able to do that. And I want to hear more stories like that, where we are inspiring people to take the next step, right? To dip their foot in business and really see what they're made of. I think this really shows true grit.
For sure. And for those who are tuning in, we are the Undocu Hustle Show. You can find us at undocuhustleshow.com, where you can catch up to all of our episodes. We have 12 episodes, and this is our season finale. This is the wrap of our season 1, 13 episodes, where we talk about entrepreneurship in a level where it's usually not talked about in our the level where we're at, right? We hear startups and businesses launching. What we're talking about is the tamalera lady or the cheesecake lady selling door to door. That type of level of startup, because we are encouraging people to be able to not only start their side hustle, but be able to scale it up so that we can eventually and soon, hopefully, create generational wealth, community wealth, so that we can start then focusing on policies that can help us really succeed in this country. For far too long, we have been oppressed in a way where we have barriers that we thought were unbreakable, but for some reason, these past few years, we have gone through an awakening and showcasing that, we can create generational wealth in this country. ¿Sí o no, Victor?
That's right. And I want to step back and talk about what that means, right? It's like, what does that first step look like? What does this vision and dream of becoming your own boss look like? I want to use you as an example, Alejandro, because you've really shown this level of come up that for most people they don't see it, right? And I think in our entrepreneurial journey, we've seen the do's and the don'ts, as well as like what doors can open when you legitimize your business, when you finally get that license, when you get the insurance for the company, when you open up and start marketing to people that you never thought were going to be customers. This is something that I've talked to my mom about, scaling up her cleaning business, and for so long had doubts, right, about this. She never thought that she was going to employ people. She never thought that she was going to have contracts with companies, or buildings. And it's exactly what you're talking about now. It's like, you got to start legitimizing to open up those doors for generational wealth. what were some of the first steps? Talk me through, like, getting your like even getting a business started in Colorado or in Santa Monica, right, California. What were those first steps? What were the things that you needed, like, in terms of documentation, and like what was that process?
Yeah, so first of all, growing up with an undocumented family, most of my family lived under the shadows, and I've seen them day in and day out just work and grind and do whatever it takes to be able to survive in this country. Well, I grew up with that same mentality, thinking that this is the only thing I could do, and this is the way to do it, right? Well, in 2012, when I first got DACA, I thought that now that I have DACA, I was like, oh, now I can go get a business license. Now I can make this stuff real. Like, I can go from just selling it on the side to like getting it off the ground, right? So it was DACA that gave me the confidence to be able to move forward, because now I had a 9-digit number that I lacked on my life, which was a social security number. With that number, I was able to then feel empowered that I can go and get all its licenses. So before I move forward with any more of this, I want to let everybody know here who's watching that you do not need to have legal status in this country to be able to operate a business, to obtain an LLC, to hire on people, to be an independent contractor. You can do that with an ITIN. Community who's watching this knows what an ITIN is. And if you don't know, you can visit immigrantsrising.org. They have beautiful, important, great information and resources that can help you on what an ITIN does. But basically, the only difference I had now that I had in 2012 was that now I had a social security number instead of an ITIN. Not knowing, I could have all along used the ITIN to be able to move forward in the next steps, which was obtaining an EIN number, which is basically a business number or a business ID number for your business. So that was the first step. It was get my ITIN, or use through my ITIN, go and get a EIN number for the business.
Yeah. And I mean, right now, I think post DACA, there are so many opportunities that have been created through this amazing campaign to stop the deportation of dreamers, right? For me, like, it has really been that pivot into how can we help this community? But more than anything is like, we have realized once these doors have opened that you don't need a social security number to start a business, that you really can like safeguard yourself by having a business, having employees, and really creating that income, right? We know that, for all the issues that immigrants have to deal with, deportation is one of those things that's always in the back of our mind. And I know that if you're a business owner, if you have children here, if you employ people here, all of those things are in your favor to defend against the deportation. And to me, it's like, why not create that, even if you're not in deportation proceedings, and have that as a safety net? Not only that, but the amount of customers that you would be servicing, a community that you're building around your business, because it is a community, right? And that to me is like, that's what so right?
The numbers are behind us. Like, we have proven time and time again that immigrant entrepreneurial spirit not only is vibrant in our community, but it actually contributes to the economy, like in the trillions of dollars, billions of dollars, right? And we need to be able, and elected officials and people who are working for organizations, we need to be able to start pushing for policies that are unapologetically tailored towards our community, because we look how much we've been able to do without other resources that other folks have already. Look how much we've been able to do if just we can able now to tailor policies that, for example, will allow the tamalera lady to get her business and cook out of her kitchen, right? And legitimize everything, the process from beginning to end. Policies that would truly allow us to go for loans or grants that will allow us to, get $5,000, $6,000, $2,000. Even that amount of money can help legitimize business and therefore help us grow and move forward.
That's exactly right. And really it's us opening those doors, right? It's our community, it's the business community, the immigrants who first took that step, who are carving the way, for other entrepreneurs to really step into place. And that's why, we decided to start this podcast, right? Is to inspire those folks to trailblaze, to make that first step in their family, so that their siblings, their children can follow right beside them. So often we hear, in the community, but what if we fail? What if we don't have enough capital? It's like all those what ifs is what we're testing, right? It's like, we'll never know unless we try it. And for folks like our parents who really, it's like, there was no what if. It's like, I have to succeed. This food in my baby's mouths. This is the roof of our head. This is the clothes on our back. And that's that spirit that I want to bring to, Undocu entrepreneurship. Something that you had said earlier, about not needing status to really be in business. We had come up with a chant, right, that we turned into a t-shirt. If folks want to see that t-shirt, it's on our website at the UndocuHustleShow.com. But it's, no papers, no fear. We can still do business here. And for me, that's the spirit that we need to take this on, right? Take this anti-immigrant narrative, these narratives that immigrants don't belong. It really is, the people taking ownership of their own destiny. And you can't create erasure when we don't believe in it.
When you sent me that chant, when you texted to me, I'm like, yes, Victor, this is amazing. No papers, no fear. We can still do business here. Like, that resonated so much. And it's every time I hear, or I even look and I see somebody hustling and selling, being a street vendor or creating their t-shirt business or asking me a question about entrepreneurship, like that saying embodies all that. So I'm so happy to be sharing that. But if I want to start, for those of you who are watching the live, start thinking about some questions that you may want to ask Victor and I. We really want to open it up for questions. I think Victor and I both thrive a lot on questions. We love answering some either questions about our entrepreneurship journey, our immigration journey, or even points of views where we think things are going. Like, I have a lot of thoughts about where, for example, the food industry is going to go now that COVID-19 has hit, and what we've done to adapt, and just things that we want to share. But we want to start putting that out there to start thinking about some questions. We would love to hear some. Start typing them in the question box so that we can answer those fairly soon.
Yeah, I also want to add that one thing that, as you start to think about diving into your own hustle, your own business, your own entrepreneurial journey, you have to think about what's going to come after your friends and family and those that are closest to you and excited about you starting your business get tapped out, right? And so many times, right, we've seen this. And in fact, we've seen really incredible support from the community right at the front end. And it's not telling of the real amount of business that you're going to do right after that first wave of support comes. Do you want to talk a little bit about that with Stokes Poke, and even some of the things with the Unum sunglasses or progressive buttons, how you had this peak at the beginning and then just started seeing a depletion in your community and that circle of support?
Yes, totally. So I launched my sunglass business in 2012. And I did a big launch. It was so cool, Victor. It was I did it in one of my buddy's apartment. He had a cool loft. Juan Chavez Shout out to him, early supporter of the Undocu Hustle. He lent me his apartment and said, let's do a launch. Let's do something big. I had a lot of friends come through, a lot of support. It was awesome. It was really, really awesome. And like you just said, got a lot of sales. Basically, I was able to like pay back my investment within those first 2 weeks of launching the business. I had done a lot of promo beforehand, like shooting the website, letting people know when the launch was going to happen and all that good stuff. And when I saw that dip, and that actual dip continued, I think month after month, I was able to have a steady flow of income. But I wasn't that much focused on the making of the money. I was more focused on figuring out how to like have an e-commerce shop and how to create marketing campaigns and how to get customers and how to like play with apps within Shopify. I first used Squarespace.com, and then I moved over to Shopify and started. So I was learning a lot within that time frame. So much that I liked it, and I kept on going to this day. I continue to have Unum sunglasses right now. And I was active with it for about 5 years, very active, and learned so much through it. So much that it allowed me to then focus and know how to launch Progressive Button, which was a hit. Such a hit that I was able to generate enough money to be able to then buy into the food truck business that I have now. Now this food truck business is a food truck, a kiosk, a pop-up catering business that I was able to grow from those lived experiences that didn't accumulate to a lot of wealth or money, but a lot of knowledge within those 7 years. And now I feel that I'm in the best position to be able to scale my business because I got started in 2012. So when people are thinking about getting started, I say start now, because you don't know where you're going to be 7 years from now.
Yeah, and that journey is long, right? You have to be patient with yourself. I think a lot of people expect, that being in business for yourself means that you have to be successful right off the bat. Most businesses, right, owners of the business don't pay themselves a full paycheck, until 3 years into the business. And I mean, I know that's something that you've had to do from time to time, where it's like, I'm not getting a paycheck this month or this week, because you're investing in the long term, right, for your business. And I think that that's such an important part to discuss as an entrepreneur, is like when you're really giving into the business, it's about making sure that you're sustaining the business itself, and it's not about the money, that it's not about the income, but more about building the structure that you need to make sure that you're successful. Whether it's like the making sure that you have the right what is it called, suppliers when you're getting your materials, making sure that you're getting the best price on those, the best margins, knowing, right, who and where to get your license from, and then also like that you're getting all the benefits from your business tax wise, and making sure that you're accounting. Like, really, as a business owner, you should know your business up and down. You should know everything from the arbitrage, like getting your merchandise, to the very top, whether it's like the tax bracket that you're in and the benefits that you're getting, as well as the deductions that you're getting for your business.
And Victor, all of that you might not have within the first 6 months of your business, or you might be the person who focuses that as the front end of things. Like, that wasn't me, right? When I got launched and I started, I'm like, chingale, vámonos, like, let's go for it, right? And then I figured out all the stuff as I was navigating through it. If I was to do it back over again, started from scratch, I would maybe put a little bit more emphasis on the back end of things. Now today, if you were to ask me any single month finances, what are my percentage, where my margins are, me los conozco de arriba para abajo. Like, I know every single thing, because I have been applying for grants and loans everywhere right now, because we've lost about 52% of our business due to COVID-19. Before COVID-19, we were in a trajectory to continue to scale up. I was I had a goal of making $250,000 just in the food truck business alone. And now, híjole. However, we are in a position where we have operated in a shared model, low cost model. Like, we are set for this stuff. We're able to stay afloat, survive, because of our immigrant grit as well. Like, there's so much. And I want to also do a quick plug-in. Very soon, I'm going to be launching a book on my journey as an immigrant, as well as the Undocu Hustle. I'm going to talk about everything about the stuff that I've done to start up a business, from getting business license, to getting insurance, to figuring out how to pay my taxes, to figure out a marketing strategy that's worked for me, just, platforms that I've been using, things that have worked. One of the things that we'll talk about in the book is cash mob, something that I've, come to have an experience in figuring and seeing how effective a cash mob can be as you're launching your business. So stay tuned for that. More information at undocuhustleshow.com for more details when the book comes out.
That's exciting. I am so excited to read that book. Honestly, like, as much as I know you, I think it's those details that don't get discussed, that sometimes is like, it's the golden nuggets, right? That, it's like, man, I never thought about that. I need to implement this now in my business and see progress. I think that's incredible. One thing that you talked about was, right now, PPP loans or PPP grants, for most people, that were in the restaurant industry, that were, really in any kind of retail, got hit hard by COVID. And, this is something that as business owners, we benefited from. If you employed people, if you needed to keep people employed and didn't want to furlough them, you could get access to these loans. And I think this is one place where, immigrants didn't get stimulus checks. And I think this is something that the American people completely forgot about, right? Is that, the people who are lowest on the rung right here are folks that really are the base of our economy. The fruit pickers, the vegetable pickers, those folks that are out, doing construction and in retail and in the hospitality industry, those are our folks, those are our immigrants, and they didn't get that stimulus check. But for folks that were immigrants, but a business owner, they were able to apply for PPP loans. And this is where we're breaking the barrier, right? Like, even though they're anti-immigrant, they can't keep us from all of what we deserve, because we are still vital parts of this community in many ways.
Yeah, I mean, here is some data from the New American Economy that says immigrant-owned businesses employ 8 million American immigrants, and they wield 1.1 trillion in spending power, right? And so, yes, you're right, Victor. If I want, again, just want to highlight what you just said, that if you are a business owner, an Undocu business owner, and have a business and have all your licenses and paid over your taxes, you can apply for the PPP loan and all those loans. So stay informed. I know that we're supposed to be having another round of stimulus coming through. I hope that stimulus is focused on small business, that is focused on micro small businesses like mine, where I only employ at a time. The most employees I've had was 5 employees. I would consider that a micro business. Some people only employ themselves, spouses, between spouses. And so be ready for that. Have all your documents ready. Your EIN number, your tax from 2019, your bank statements, just have those ready, because I do see that there's going to be another stimulus coming in the short term. I am very hopeful for that, but we got to be ready, porque we could apply.
Right, that's right. And I mean, like I said, right, these are the types of advantages that business owners get because they are in business, right? Not only are they like employing folks, but they have the benefit of like cutting their own checks, paying maybe less on taxes because they're investing in the community by creating jobs, creating business, and really participating in our economy. And because of that, they get some extra privileges, right? Tax cuts, tax breaks, as well as these PP access to these PP loans. For me, that's the start. That's the beginning of really seeing where there is a very real benefit, a tangible benefit to being in business for yourself, right? Where, I've had so many experiences where people are working for others and they have the expertise, they have the know-how, but are so fearful of going into business for themselves because, oh no, the government's gonna see my stuff, or oh no, there's gonna I'm gonna have so many tax records, or I don't want to go toe to toe with the IRS. It's like those are scary thoughts, but overwhelmingly, the benefits outweigh the risk. And to me, it's about really using your expertise, what you have to offer, and going into business for yourself to make sure that you're getting the fair share of your pie, right? We know how economics works. The people at the top of the company get far bigger cuts of the pie than the folks at the bottom. And we need to be part of that top.
I know. So I want to again give a shout out to Immigrants Rising. I was a fellow for their entrepreneurship program last year, and it was a great experience because they have so much knowledge. They are fantastic, for real. So if you're thinking about starting a business, I would point you to that direction. Check out how to get an ITIN, or how to pay business taxes, how to apply for a business license. There's a lot of information there that you can just do on their search box, or just go through other resources that they have. And if you just read through them, something might pop up that you're like, oh, wait a minute, I need that. So I highly encourage folks to visit them. They are awesome.
Let me share my screen. I can show you doing a little bit of business there.
Yes.
Some of the resources that you can get through Immigrant Rising. So as you can see, right, you have, beyond DACA, making money, going to college. Some of these are California based, mental health, getting papers, but these are all resources that that are provided through Immigrant Rising. And of course, we really have benefited from seeing, right, the different resources that they give. You very directly, me indirectly, through some of this content. It's incredible, right, what you're able to find just through these programs: financial support, entrepreneurial funding, pre-law funding, educational partnerships, leadership opportunities, career development, story.
Yeah, they're just awesome. They're awesome. Immigrantsrising.org. Another thing about our podcast, as Victor was mentioning earlier, this is our season finale. We are getting, we're very excited that we have recorded 13 episodes. You can also just find and hear us out. We talk about our journey, our personal journeys, how we've done it. There's things that you'll hear about, like how to launch your e-commerce store. We talk about marketing. You can even hear episodes of other Undocu hustlers who have done things. For example, ¿cómo se llama tu compa de las salsas?
Oh, Juan Stewart.
Juan Stewart and salsa, man. That was an amazing episode. You can hear also Bo, one of my colleagues. Him and I were in the Immigrants Rising program last year, and he's an artist. He is amazing. He launched a t-shirt company. And have you been checking out his Instagram? It is popping.
Oh yeah, Illegal Drip is popping. And you can find all the information on UndocuHustleShow.com, the UndocuHustleShow.com, and find all these episodes, as well as be able to connect with some of the people that we interviewed for these podcasts. I want to go back to one of the very first that we did, Alejandro, and I think it's the one that really was closest to my heart, just because of how real the situation was, and more than anything, how many ganas this person really put into their business, right? I want to shout out Marta, who really launched into her dream of starting a tamal business for herself. She had been in catering, and when she came to you, right, she had asked, for a job at Stokes Poke, I think, and you were like, I'm running out of jobs to give, right? Like you were.
It was just right in March, when COVID had just really locked everything down.
So what do? We went back to our basics. What do you know how to do? How can we get you business, right? And she, of course, knew how to make tamales. I would say some of the best tamales I've ever had. Like, I call them the best in Denver, and like, I'll challenge that because they are so delicious.
Even your mom, when we were having tamales that night, and your mom used to sell tamales, she goes,
yeah,
wow, these are great. Están bien grandotes y están llenos de carne.
Yep. Oh my mom was so impressed by her tamales, and like, my mom's not one to like just cheerlead whatever food. She's really critical.
Yeah, no.
Of these tamales. I was just thrown aback by how long she had been in this country, and not just started a tamal business for herself anyways, but when she came to us, she was really desperate for like, jobs now. And what we told her was, what we're gonna do is we're gonna blast, your what would be your business, for making tamales on our social media pages. She could work off of your commercial kitchen connection, right? Through ¿cómo se llama? Where's your commercial kitchen?
It's the Boogie Down.
Boogie Down. So use that commercial kitchen license to be able to make the tamales and meet regulation and everything. If that for her was huge, right? Working out of a commercial kitchen. And then we got this amazing amount of support from community, this resounding message of, support small businesses that are struggling, and we gave out Marta's story, of not having work for 6 weeks and starting her tamal business, and to support. And out of nowhere, literally 3 days, we had posted this, and I had make a Google form, and we had 60 some odd orders. And we never saw that type. Like, I had never seen that type of orders for tamales ever. And mind you, I had been selling tamales for my mom for years. We had maybe done 60 dozen at once, max.
In Navidad too.
Yeah. And she ended up doing 128 that first week. And then we're like, we got to keep this rolling. So we let it keep going. The second week, she got another 130. And it was like back-to-back weeks where she had to make tamales literally from like 3 in the morning to 12 in the afternoon. And then we went and delivered all those tamales. She made $6,000 in those 2 weeks. I mean, to say that wasn't a successful cash mob, I don't know what is. For me, like, that was the capital that was able to really launch her, to see the vision that people did want her food, would purchase the food at the price that she was asking, right? And for me, like, that was such a gift to see Marta become, this fierce.
And now she has a website, which is
Quetamales.com.
Quetamales.com with a Q, tamales.
That's right. Quetamales.com. And she has been taking orders. She actually teamed up with Bondadosa, a local delivery, food delivery service. Actually a close friend of mine, Ricardo Rocha. And this is where networking, right, is so important for business owners, that they get new ideas by scratching the surface just with other people, talking about the problems that they're dealing with and saying, hey, I actually am in that business. I can give you, an offer for your business to solve this problem. And here we were, right, delivering tamales, which was a huge hassle for her and her family. And Bondadosa came through and said, I can do each of those deliveries for $5 a piece. And it was like, bam, partnership right then and there. We launched the website, and sure enough, on a weekly basis, she's making tamales and having them delivered by Bondadosa. And I think the only tamal delivery service in the Denver metro area that is by our own company. So like that to me was really like what success looks like.
Yeah. And Victor, to talk about back again of like only needing certain amount of money. It doesn't take a lot of money to be able to continue to like have a trajectory, right? And so now, she's not making the level of amount of money that she made those first 2 weeks. However, I think that she learned a lot and the potential that it can have. One thing that I want Undocu Hustle Show to in the future be able to have, and just like we were able to support Marta, is continue to support small business owners in a way where we can go beyond those 2 weeks. Because how important it would be if we were able to run successful ads targeting people who will continue to support Marta's story and Marta's business through a marketing department, or I truly envision the Undocu Hustle Show to become a hub where we can provide maybe 1 month, 2 months, whatever support, marketing or web development and those kinds of things to help businesses grow. I'm putting that out there right now because that's what has sometimes kept me from being able to scale up. However, I'm very resourceful. Y le busco, like I'll look online, I'll figure it out. I've created very successful marketing campaigns. I've been featured in national platforms through my marketing strategy, pero not everybody has that. Not everybody understands how to do that. And I think that there is no other way to grow a business quickly other than marketing. And if you don't have a robust marketing campaign, it's going to be very tough to grow because you're going to deplete your network. You're going to deplete your market. And so if there's anybody out there who wants to work with the Undocu Hustle Show, who wants to share their knowledge, who wants to share their experience on how we can create successful marketing campaigns where we're not just throwing dollars out there, because honestly, sometimes I feel when I'm running my own ads for StokesPoker.com that I'm just throwing money away. I'm like, chingada, I just put $800 a month. No sé si it got me a return on my investment or not. But I'm working on it. I've gotten better at it. So yeah, putting that out there.
That's right. Well, I want to take the last 16 minutes that we have to open it up to our participants. I know we have 6 participants online. For folks that are online, if you have any questions, raise your hand. We'll click on you. We'll see if we can get you to ask your question, or put it, of course, in the chat.
In the meantime, as we're waiting for some questions, Victor, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
This is our season finale. This is our 13th episode. We already heard which one was your favorite episode, which was the Marta episode, which is also all in Spanish, which I love. What have you learned between these 13 episodes on podcasting or even in your business? I'll go, what's one takeaway?
I mean, the one thing that you challenged me with when we first started the podcast is to start an online business so that we can show people that even during COVID, we could make money, right? And that to me was the nail biter, to see if the proof was in the pudding that we could just start a business and make income, out like another side hustle during COVID. And the answer was yes, absolutely. Right. I started a company, Cute Succulents, and that was the most like ridiculous thing that I could think of in terms of like just like making money at home, around something that I had gotten offline and just went for, right? To make little concrete pots at home and then to sell them along with a little succulent online. And through trials, right, and trial and error, I found out that selling them online wasn't the best idea, but selling them on Facebook Marketplace, the Nextdoor app, on Let Go, was brilliant because one, people were itching to get the hell out of their house. And two, they were more than happy to pick up some succulents in my backyard, that I had ready and prepared for them. Succulents were at a low cost. The pots were at a low cost, low labor. So like I got my whatchamacallits real cheap, right? My sourced my inventory real cheap. And then of course, like the marketing of it was free. It was just me posting on Facebook.
Facebook Marketplace.
Job of like reminding you to post again, to refresh, and if you've sold out. And it really is amazing. I think I ended up making around, I want to say $700 on this thing that I maybe spent, a couple hours each week, just like handing out succulents and making the pots. And to me, that was like a really incredible, learning process. Now I have all these materials to make the pots. I have connections for sourcing the plants. I know how to mail them, and now I have a website up to do it. Now I've shut it down because, I want to focus my energy elsewhere. But it was a good lesson in that like e-commerce, that trinket selling, right, and making a steady income, from a side hustle.
We have a question, Victor.
I did see that.
I don't know if Daniel wants to come on. We've allowed it, but if not, we do have his question here. Daniel, thank you for being on the Undocu Hustle podcast show, our season finale, and we'd love to hear your question.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Daniel. Hey, so mob, and how do you implement like a successful launch?
Can you repeat it one more time?
So how do you start a cash mob, and how do you implement a successful launch like for a t-shirt company?
Awesome. Let me, so for the cash mob, what Victor and I did, I think it requires, when you have identified your product, your service, whatever that's gonna be, I think it's just, what we did is we used Canva. We created a couple of graphics, creating like a call to action, which was a specific date saying, for example, the tamales was, here's the link, here's the information to place an order for the tamales. We're gonna make the order link live 2 weeks from now or 1 week from now, whatever that is, and just push. Let them know. I think another important part is create a story, a narrative behind why you're doing this cash mob. So if it's because you want to raise $1,000 or $500, whatever you have set yourself your goal to be, because that's going to allow you to launch your t-shirt business or get the funds that you need to be able to pay 6 months subscription for a website or whatever that is. I think if you associate it to a story and a narrative, it will carry a lot further. And then also share it with other friends and let them know, hey, can you help me push this to your networks? Is another important thing.
Yeah, I would stress what it is that has inspired you to start this business, but make it personal, right? For you, it's personal. One, because you're staking your money, your time, your efforts to do this work, and see, right, like start talking to your community, your friends, your family, your support circles about launching this business, and let them know that you're raising capital so that you can really launch this business to the community, so like really think about how you're doing your soft launch. The soft launch is with your friends, your family, and your inner circle. Know the numbers, right? Know that first soft launch, you're gonna make money, right? So if you're doing a t-shirt company, how you're really making it cheap for yourself, so that you're not investing as much of your own capital and saving that for the real launch. There's great services, and you may already know this, Daniel, but print on demand, right? Where you can go to companies like Custom Ink or literally printondemand.com and create your t-shirt designs and sell them without having to invest a penny in materials. They'll print and ship your idea as long as you have access to customers, and really building that customer list and showing them that you have a very defined, well-defined what would you say, brand, right? Show people that you got what they want, and then of course, like, plug your community, the closest people to you. That will make for a good success. That'll make for a successful soft launch.
Totally. We have another question. We have Judy. Welcome to the Undocu Hustle Show.
Hi. Do you want me to read out my question then?
Yes, please.
What suggestions do you have for high school students that would like to start a side hustle? And then part of that answer might be, is there one of your episodes that they should watch later?
Thank you very much for that question. I have actually done a couple of presentations where I go and specifically talk about with high school students. When I was in high school, I remember selling just even chips and different little things like that, as a side hustle. So if you're already doing that, you have that entrepreneurship spirit living within you. And those are the people who I think will be the most successful when it comes to entrepreneurship, because they are already going through that little side hustle that's gonna continue to spark that drive to learn more about it, to learn how to scale up, to learn how to start, getting a business license. So I think the number one advice I would give to a high school student is start that side hustle. We as millennials, Gen Zs, I don't even know what generation we're in right now, but we have something that our parents didn't have, or even we didn't really experience 20 years ago, which is access to platforms that make it really easy to be able to launch a website, charge people through Venmo or Square, or just, there is a lot of resources right here on the palm of our hands, which is doing a simple Google search and figuring out what is it that is out there and what can work. So going for it will be my number one advice.
Yeah, I mean, really, for me, like, high school students are so entrepreneurial. They're always wanting to get their hands on something. The one thing that I would really encourage for high school students is learn how to work in teams, right? You really have like so much energy with so many people. And if you can really decide on an idea that you all want to go in on together, that for me would be like the best trajectory for a business, because one, you have less to invest on the forefront. You have more people and resources in terms of brain power and willpower, and you have the energy of these young students who will be able to push this business from every which way. In terms of the episode that I would recommend to them, I would recommend Juan Stewart's episode where we talked about Green Belly Foods and his journey from like starting out, 7 years ago, making pots of hot sauce in his mom's kitchen, to like now, where he's grossing over $250,000 and is now in every King Soopers in the Denver metro area. That is a success story that has taken time. So if these high schoolers start now, when they're leaving college, they could see themselves really boasting a company that could make an impact, in the community, that could be their main hustle.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
And that is episode number 6. If you are looking for it, episode number 6 on the UndocuHustleShow.com. Yes, Victor. So I think we are very near our season finale. I, first of all, want to thank you so much, Victor, honestly, for going with me through this. Like you said, I'm like, Victor, we've been talking about this idea. We're on next week. We were able to do this as well through a community grant that we received by Councilwoman Jamie Torres. She awarded us $500 that allowed us to pay for studio. A studio allows us to pay for some of editing and things like that, which also allowed us to launch out. So there's been a lot of people in the community who have supported us along the way. So, I want to thank all those folks out there who if you know who you are, if you helped us, listened to us throughout the months, shared us, thank you so much. It comes from the bottom of my heart. And we're not stopping there. Like I said, I'm excited to launch the ebook. It's going to be free. I'm not going to charge for it, because in my mission and my belief is that the only way that we're going to be able to create community wealth and generational wealth is that if we don't hoard this information, if we share how to get a business license, how to navigate through the process, it will just make it easier for community. And then we're going to have the supplemental income. We're not going to have to worry about things. We're going to be able to take vacations. We're going to be able to vote. We're going to be able to create policies that are going to help us grow and scale our business.
Right. Doubly, Alejandro, I want to just thank you for being an incredible partner in this podcast. To those folks that are watching this partnership between Alejandro and I want to just stress how important it is to have somebody in your life that is 100% in support of what you do every single day. That, regardless of where they're at in the world, they are putting out nothing but positive things about you. And Alejandro, I just want to thank you for being that person for me. On my entrepreneurial journey, the one thing that has lifted me up is your confidence, your eagerness and willingness to work with me. And doubly, I am always wanting to support you in your business and your endeavors. For those of you that are watching this, these types of relationships are important, not only because this is difficult work, being an entrepreneur, working for yourself, seeing the trials and tribulation of business. You need people to rest your head on, a shoulder to cry on. Sometimes you just need to get the stress out. But these are people who will help you become who you want to become. They'll give you tips and guidance, and if anything, at least listen to you, and encourage you. This relationship, Alejandro, I think for me is one of my most important relationships in my life, in terms of my business, in terms of my professional life, and as a friend. For me, having your support has given me the will to step up as a leader, and it goes to show that we're supporting one another. When one person falls, you're there to pick them up. And this has really become a mastermind for us. Whenever I need to bounce ideas off of Alejandro, he's free to take my call. And if not at that moment, he's like, hey, I can't talk now, I'm doing a catering order, but let's talk in half an hour and an hour. I'll be there for you. And that relationship really can carry so many things. I would say that your friendship and your willingness to work with me is a part of my self-care. And I hope that I am the same to you. So just to end this podcast and this stream, find yourself somebody that is supportive of you, your dreams, and your vision. A platonic friend that really is there to support you in everything that you do.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much for everyone watching. And don't forget to subscribe to our show, the Undocu Hustle Show.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. And thank you for listening.